My mom, Shirley, R.I.P., took care of her till the very end. Just like my best friend, Betsy. Bets had a rough go with cancer, but I got through it.
Welcome to MsMojo, and today we're discussing the shocking true story of the Thing About Pam.
In certain cases where you have a monster, somebody like Jeffrey Dahmer or Charles Manson or John Wayne Gacy, you can throw Pam Hupp right into that conversation because she's just as bad and just as evil as any one of those individuals.
For this video, we're looking at the bizarre saga of Pamela Hupp that inspired the NBC crime drama. Are you watching The Thing About Pam? Sound off in the comments. The murder of Betsy Faria. The 2011 murder of Betsy Faria has become a nationally recognized case known for its shocking twists and turns. What followed was a bizarre, decades-long series of events involving two other mysterious deaths. And at the center of it all was Pamela Hupp.
That is why it is so good that you have got your eye on us.
Elizabeth Betsy Faria and Pamela Hupp worked together at a State Farm office in Missouri and went on to develop a friendship. In 2010, Betsy was diagnosed with breast cancer, and though it seemed like she may have beaten it after a while, by October 2011, the cancer had spread to her liver.
We went through a lot of crying, a lot of heartache, and just a lot of hard time, but, we kept our faith and we kept praying.
At this stage, it was terminal. Her friend Pam stayed by her side, even accompanying her to chemotherapy treatments. In December of that year, the two women went to Wing Haven's library and filled out a change of beneficiary form. Pam was now the sole beneficiary of Betsy's $150,000 life insurance policy. A few days later, Betsy was deceased.
I was taking my jacket off and calling for Betsy, and then I seen her there on the floor.
On the night of December 27th, Russell Faria came home from his Tuesday game night to find his wife laying on the living room floor with her wrists cut. Panicking, he called 911 and told the operator he believed his wife took her own life.
She had threatened it previously. She had actually tried it previously, left notes and that.
But what he didn't supposedly see were all the stab wounds all over her body. Police found this suspicious. Lincoln County investigators interrogated Russ for 10 hours.
The guy's a good liar. He's sticking to his Arby's and game night.
I wish to God I hadn't gone to game night, but that's where I was. So how can everybody think I did this?
It doesn't matter what everyone thinks. It matters what the prosecution can prove.
And despite having an alibi and not having any blood on him, they decided he was the culprit and didn't even consider any other suspects, not even the last person to see her alive.
Let's go over your story so far. You said you didn't take Betsy home, that someone dropped her off, right? Who was that?
Her friend Pam. She's been helping us out with Betsy.
Okay, you mind spelling that for me?
PP.
Earlier that evening, Pam Hupp offered to drive Betsy home from her mother's house in Lake St. Louis. She later told police that her friend was planning on leaving her husband, whom she'd claimed had a violent temper. The next day, Russ was arrested for murder. The trials of Russell Faria.
Where am I going?
Just need you to come down to the station, answer some questions about your wife. Due diligence.
On January 4th, 2012, two charges were laid against Russ Faria: first-degree murder and armed criminal action.
You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you in a court of law.
Am I being arrested?
We're just trying to find out what happened.
Russ had 4 people to corroborate his alibi, plus a time-stamped receipt from Arby's, and made multiple pit stops. The prosecutor's strongest evidence was a pair of Russ's house slippers found with blood on them at his home. But there was no blood on the soles and no footprints anywhere. The trial began on November 18, 2013. And on November 21st, the jury found Russ Faria guilty on both counts.
As to count 1, we, the jury, find Russell Faria guilty of murder in the first degree.
In December, he was sentenced to life plus 30 years, no parole.
Those little things, like a time-stamped phone call, for instance.
Perfect.
Could make an alibi.
Russ's attorney, Joel Schwartz, wasn't allowed to present evidence pointing to Pam Hupp as an alternative suspect.
I'm so sorry. My brain gets kind of funny sometimes. I get mixed up.
It's all right. Sorry to hear that.
The jury never heard about how she changed her story to police multiple times, had no solid alibi, was the last to see Betsy alive, and became the sole beneficiary just a few days before her death.
But get this, the letter was loaded onto Betsy's laptop the day before Pam became the beneficiary of Betsy's life insurance policy, 5 days before the murder.
In January 2014, Fox 2 News and St. Louis Post-Dispatch played an integral role in getting a retrial for Russ. Their reporting brought to light the suppressed evidence at trial and exposed the lies told by the prosecution's key witness.
I fully expected that somebody would come and question me and want more information about what Pam was doing. Nothing. Never got anything.
A judge released Faria on bond and granted him a retrial in June 2015. And on November 7th, a judge overturned the conviction, exonerating Russ Faria of his wife's murder. He would later file a civil suit against the prosecutor and several deputy sheriffs for mishandling his case. The suspicious death of Shirley Newman. On October 31, 2013, a housekeeper at Lakeview Park Independent Senior Living Community in Fenton, Missouri, found Shirley Newman's body below her third-floor balcony. However, the details were extremely odd.
I don't think the balusters are damaged a bit, but from my angle, I can clearly see that the bottom rail has bent itself out. However, a person still would not have fallen through this.
That was worst case.
That was the worst case. That was with me launching myself at it.
The 77-year-old Alzheimer's patient had apparently fallen through the railings. Her autopsy showed that she had 8 times the normal dose of Ambien in her system. The last person to see her alive was her daughter, Pamela Hupp.
I really hate to say it, wanted money. My mom's worth $500,000 that I get when she dies.
A few months before her mother's death, Hupp gave a chilling statement to police when being interviewed about Faria, claiming that she didn't need to kill Betsy because once her mother died, she'd get $500,000.
If I really wanted money, there was an easier way than trying to combat somebody that's physically stronger than me. I'm just saying.
She wasn't questioned about Newman's death by law enforcement at the time. Fox 2 News reporter Chris Hayes went to the Hupp residence in January 2014, and to his surprise, Pam spoke with him for about a half hour. The murder of Louis Gumpenberger. On August 16, 2016, Pamela Hupp called 911 to report a home invasion in progress. She shot the supposed perpetrator 5 times, killing him in what was reportedly self-defense.
There's never been a question that she shot Gumpenberger. Hupp says it was self-defense. Prosecutors say she plotted the killing for days to make someone else look guilty.
When officers arrived on the scene, they found $900 in cash and a handwritten note in the man's pocket. The note appeared to be from someone putting a hit out on Pam, telling the man to, quote, get Russ's money and then kill her.
Prosecutors say Hupp was tired of people questioning if she was involved in Betsy's death and plotted Gumpenberger's murder to escape suspicion.
This alleged hitman was identified as 33-year-old Louis Gumpenberger, an innocent man whom Hupp lured to her house. Investigators connected the knife and bills back to Hupp and uncovered her elaborate scheme to frame Russ Faria again.
We located this knife that was almost appeared to be perfectly placed between the center console and the passenger seat.
What Pam didn't know was Louis suffered from mental impairments and nerve damage stemming from a 2005 car accident.
Based on what I was reading, this person was incapable of functioning at a level to do what was being purported that he had done.
Louis's disability made it highly unlikely he'd ever be able to attempt such a crime.
Not only did he not have the mental capacity to perform a ransom, kidnapping, murder for hire, but he was also physically unable to do even basic things such as running.
Pamela Hupp's convictions. St. Charles County investigators remembered a report filed by Carol McAfee 6 days before the incident. She was propositioned by a woman claiming to be a Dateline producer, willing to pay a lot of money for her to reenact a 911 call for an upcoming episode.
But it was pretty obvious Pam was using our identity to troll for a victim. She must have used the very same ruse to pick up the vulnerable Louis Gumpenberger. But to prove that, was going to take more than speculation.
But Pam was unsuccessful in this attempt, and Carol had security cameras on her property that captured a clear shot of Pam's license plate.
Clear evidence that Pam's phone was at Louis Gumpenberger's apartment, meaning Pam herself must have been there too.
Pam was arrested on August 23rd. At the police station, she went to the bathroom and seemingly tried to take her own life using a pen.
She spotted a pen behind her water bottle. Then, quickly, quietly, she reached for the bottle, pulled it with the pen, palmed the pen, tucked it into her pants, then felt for the arteries in her neck.
That December, a grand jury indicted Hupp for first-degree murder and armed criminal action. In November 2017, a medical examiner changed Shirley Newman's cause of death from accidental to undetermined. However, the case was not reopened.
2 people murdered. But the question is, were there 3?
Meanwhile, the trial involving Louis Gumpenberger's death began in summer 2019. Pam entered an Alford guilty plea with the condition that the death penalty be off the table and waived her right to a jury trial.
She agreed to plead guilty because the state had enough evidence to convict her, but not because she admitted to it all.
She was found guilty and sentenced to life without parole.
At the end of today's hearing, Pam Hupp made the same walk back to jail that Russ Faria did 8 years ago when he was wrongfully convicted.
The new Lincoln County prosecutor reopened Betsy Faria's case that same year, and in July 2021, Pam Hupp was charged with first-degree murder and armed criminal action.
The same charges that I got charged with. I always wanted her to get the same sentence that I did.
As of March 2022, she's serving a life sentence at Chillicothe Correctional Center in Missouri.
Before we continue, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. You have the option to be notified for occasional videos or all of them. If you're on your phone, make sure you go into your settings and switch on notifications.
In the media.
Enter Pam Hupp.
You know when people want you to admit to something you didn't do? I can't do that. I'm not that kind of person.
The strange cases surrounding Pamela Hupp have been the subject of TV specials, books, and podcasts. Fox 2 News in St. Louis extensively covered the Betsy Faria case as well as the other mysterious deaths surrounding Pamela Hupp. Chris Hayes was the only reporter at Russ's trial and played an integral role in getting Russ a second trial and subsequent exoneration. From 2014 to 2019, Dateline NBC aired 5 episodes about the Faria case.
Pam was all smiles as she left the courthouse and walked past our camera and said,
Say hi to Kathy.
Say hi to Kathy? Kathy happened to be our Dateline producer, which is something you might want to keep in mind.
Also in 2019, the show launched their first ever true crime original podcast, The Thing About Pam, hosted by Keith Morrison. NBC and Blumhouse Television co-produced a limited series of the same name starring Renee Zellweger, who also executive produced the series.
Kind of triggering. Felt like they're kind of making a mockery of everything that happened.
The crime drama aired in March 2022, drawing negative reviews for what came off like a comedic portrayal of Hupp and her crimes.
Something happened, Minnie. Something terrible. I'll tell you about it later. I gotta go someplace.
Do you agree with our picks? Check out this other recent clip from MsMojo. And be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos.